afternoon once again, ma'am. So, so today I would be in interaction with Dr. Neeta Bali, a dynamic educationist with more than 30 plus years of experience in education. She is the director and principal for GD Goenka World School. I would also like to, in the beginning, thank EduTV and Pranav for giving us this opportunity and this platform wherein we are together and interacting. So I have read about you. I have visited the website of the school, and I find it very interesting in your vision that the institution is focusing on the advancement of education at a global level, which I personally feel. Looking into the higher education and in the world market, that's very much required at for the students. So please elaborate more about it. Yeah, what kind of activities? What are your things being engaged in?
Thank you for asking that question, and really kind of you to have visited our website. Um, Definitely, we are one of the older international schools in the country. And as a leader, it has always been my vision and desire that we must give our children great exposure. And I feel that exposure is not merely through academic excellence. I think it is a very holistic term. When we talk about exposure, it's a very holistic term. So there is a whole array of activities, a whole gamut of activities that students indulge in. And in fact, something like this is inherent in the nature of the programs that we transact, the academic programs that we transact at the school. So children are given a lot of exposure to art, theater, music, drama, um, MUN, Modern United Nations. For that matter, even TEDx. I'd like you to know that most of the activities that happen in the organization are driven by children. My own view is we are now going to talk about design thinking. So if we talk about design thinking, I really feel that students are the most important stakeholders in any school. They are the ones who should be trained with the right life skills. So as I was saying, that a whole host of activities are conducted by the school, wherein we try to involve our children, giving them the opportunity to first conceptualize what they want to showcase, then brainstorm, and then plan, and finally execute. And eventually, we want them to reflect on their success or gaps. So I think that way we are a very different school because our whole effort and endeavor is to empower children. And you would have observed if you have visited the school website, if you looked at the social media, you would have seen that our focus is completely on our children, young, very young ones, and also the older ones. So we talk often about student agency. The word student agency is something that we live out day in and day out. Whether it is when school was running in full form, or when we're running the online classes, when school is in this kind of online mode, we have managed to accomplish a great deal even in the online mode. We have managed to empower our children because, as I said, we believe very strongly in this term student agency. Children must have a voice. Children must have opportunities to express themselves. They must have the opportunity also to be able to expend their energies in a very, very productive manner. And I think what better than giving them these opportunities in a school through co-scholastic areas, and of course in terms of academic outputs, um, and the inputs that they receive in school. Our effort and endeavor is to give them the best possible academic inputs. And I must say, I'm really proud of our children because I think they've been able to live out this vision so very beautifully.
I'm sure because being from an institution, I understand like its alumni is somebody who is actually they are the people mouthpieces for any institution. Any other kind of branding on activities will not work if your people are not doing well. So yes, ma'am. So as you mentioned, about the curricular, the co-curricular activities in which school is building on and delivering for students' well-being. So how do you feel about having a I've seen there are a lot of cultural and those kind of clubs in the school. So do you intend to have something like, say, a design club or a design community in school going forward?
Most certainly. In fact, let me tell you that this is not something which is very new to us. We may not have termed it as design thinking, but
Right.
as I
Right.
told you, it is inherent in the
Absolutely.
program which is transacted, particularly for the older children from grade 9 upwards, for that matter, even very young children. You know, I just spoke about student agency.
Yeah.
So that is very closely linked with design thinking. When we talk
Absolutely.
about empowering children, we are essentially talking about design thinking because we are asking the children to identify problems. We are asking them to understand the finer nuances by studying the problem. We are asking them to brainstorm and then collaborate and find solutions. So I
Right.
think that is precisely what design thinking is, and that's very inherent in the curriculum.
Correct. Yeah.
All
Yeah.
right. So it's not just about a standalone club. We're not talking here about standalone club. We are talking about an attitude
Right.
or an approach to academic work which
Yeah.
is transacted, and it
Right.
starts very young. For
Right.
example, if I talk about very young children who are in the PYP, which is grades nursery to grade 5, they put up exhibition. We just finished with one for grade 5, which is supposed to be an annual exhibition, where children take up these problems and they brainstorm and try and derive solutions,
Right.
and then they speak about those solutions. So
True.
I
True.
think they start very young here, and then it percolates to the older children also
Yeah.
as they move ahead, particularly in the IBDP.
Right.
This idea of design thinking is quite deeply ingrained in the curriculum. Of
Right.
course, as a standalone club, we would love to, as such, use the nomenclature a design thinking club, which I mean to do. We may
Okay.
not very explicitly state it, but as I said, it's inherent. But
Yeah.
yes, in the coming session, I will probably look at a club that can be given this nomenclature, design thinking or whatever it be.
Right. Absolutely. That's wonderful thought, because today it is all about building design ability to think as a designer, and it could be in any field. You could be a management person, you could be an engineer, but
Yeah,
the ability is what we are talking about, and building that sense and sensibility towards the
right,
whole thing,
right,
and even
right,
the
right, right,
sensitivity. So
right.
yeah. So similarly, ma'am, now coming to to groom these kids, the trainers play a very important role, the teachers play a very important role, and I'm sure during the online learning, the teachers would have undergone a lot of unlearning and relearning that would have happened during the process. So how do you find that? Was it challenging? What kind of practices has school followed in training the people there?
Megha, to be very honest and upfront, I
Hmm.
don't think we really faced any teething problems.
Okay.
Uh, because as an international school, we have always had technology has been used very profusely in education and for educating.
Okay.
And children are very used to using a laptop in the classroom,
Right.
particularly in the senior grades 11 and 12. It's very rare that children will carry heavy, bulky books
Hmm.
to school. They will always carry e-books on their laptop, and a lot of academic transaction has happened over the internet and over
Yeah.
emails.
Right.
So our children and teachers are pretty much used to it. However,
Hmm.
with the younger children, because with younger children you need to have a personal connect,
Yeah.
but I think with the kind of use of technology that was happening in the school already, the transition was quite smooth. And
Hmm.
those who resisted initially,
Hmm.
some of the older teachers have this tendency to resist.
Hmm.
But all those also, strangely, I think overnight, somehow they took to technology
Yeah.
very fast. But of course, we had to run a few training programs to ensure that the online, teaching learning would
Hmm.
happen smoothly. So there was, of course, professional development programs, which was steered by experts from outside and also our own staff.
Right.
Our own staff, particularly those in the IT department or those teaching the information technology and those teaching computer science, they pitched in and they trained just about everybody. There was hardly any resistance. And in fact, the flip side is I think I don't think we can ever go back
Yeah.
to a
True.
chalk and
We
talk
can.
method at
Right.
all.
Right. Right. True.
That's unthinkable now,
Yeah.
because I think now we have come too far, to
True.
a point
True.
of no return, if I may say so. Right?
Absolutely. Yeah. It is going to be a blended model now. I mean, we
Yes,
cannot.
yes.
It
Definitely not a
cannot be
chalk
an
and
off.
talk. No,
Yeah,
it cannot
yeah,
be just chalk and
absolutely.
talk,
Right,
because
right.
children will not take to it. We are at a
True,
point of
true,
no
true,
return.
true.
So I think that way it's been a huge blessing in disguise,
Yes, it
the
has.
pandemic. Of course,
Right.
we're missing the kids immensely.
Hmm.
But having said that, I think it has taken us forward by many notches. Yeah,
Absolutely. So the disruption has done a lot of innovation for sure. So yes, in
absolutely,
every
absolutely,
sector we are being in, like from
absolutely.
design institution where everything we understand is practical, hands-on working. I think we were able to achieve a lot of things where we asked our students to set a mini makers lab in this in the home itself, in the house
Right.
itself, and they were asked to go because they come from different parts of the country. So they were asked
Hmm.
to go to their local craft sector, learn crafts there, so that
Right.
also gave an exposure for
Hmm.
them to their own city. So yes, that has definitely built on, right? So ma'am, I am sure you are implementing design thinking and at each and every level, so that's no question anymore. But how are you seeing, like, what are the future options? Because yours is a world school, so how do you see, like, the people who passed in 2020, the 12th standard? So what are their, I mean, especially the parents' feedback about going abroad, studying abroad, or they're still a little hesitant. They took a drop year. What is the like parents are thinking?
Honestly speaking, majority of our children prefer to go overseas to study.
Yeah.
Having said that, I think people are a lot of them are seeking admissions abroad, and a lot of them have already managed based on their predicted grades. The
Mhm.
exams have yet to begin because
Right.
exams begin at the end of April for IBDP, and for the AS and A levels is much later. Anyways, so at this point of time, a lot of children have already secured admissions based on their predicted grades, and a lot of
Mhm.
them plan to go overseas. Yet, I do see some children looking at the possibility of doing their undergrad here in India and then proceeding for their postgrad studies overseas.
Right.
So I wouldn't say the interest in overseas studies has dipped at all.
Mhm.
But definitely there is a little apprehension because the situation seems to be
Yeah.
changing every day,
True.
and the
True.
situation is
True.
very unpredictable.
It is.
So there is a little apprehension in the minds of some parents, and they do share it off and on.
Mhm.
Some children definitely could take a gap year
Yeah.
and look
Right.
at admissions maybe next year. But
Right.
I think by and large, everybody will be seeking admissions this year, and many of them
Mm.
already secured admissions in some of the leading universities overseas.
Okay. Okay. Great to know that. Because even we offer an international course where first 2 years a student study here with us in India, and
Hmm.
that is a Pearson BTech accreditation. So
Hmm.
they get a higher national diploma, and then third year they go and complete their degree here
Hmm. Hmm.
with the universities in UK, Canada, and they can even do masters in 1 year. So this is 2+1+1 format. So we have seen, like, a lot of students this year, they are interested to do first 2 years in India and then go abroad, because one is the, by the
So
time, yeah,
also the cost, I think,
also
is
the
a
cost.
determining
It
factor.
is, because
It is.
you pay for basically one-fourth of the cost, ideally.
Absolutely,
Yeah, so
absolutely. I
yeah,
quite
so
agree
that,
with you.
right, so that is
I quite
also
agree with you.
something which is
Yeah.
happening, right? Great, ma'am. So, any more, things you would like to share about the school or about the delivery or the teaching learning with us? That would be helpful.
See, I must say that we are a school that believes in constantly innovating.
Mhm.
We really believe that change is the only constant. And therefore, I think we continue to replenish our teaching methodologies every single day. And as a head, that is precisely my belief that with a fiercely competitive environment, with a lot of international schools mushrooming, if I may say that, and a lot of people wanting to jump onto the bandwagon,
Mhm.
whether they, with all due regard to them, I think all of us need to constantly reinvent ourselves.
True.
So my endeavor as a head is to continue to train our teachers to learn new technologies, to learn new methodologies, to replenish their skills, to learn about the innovation which is happening outside,
Mhm.
and to reinvent themselves. Because I really feel that a teacher has to be a lifelong learner. Because if we are not learning constantly, what will children look up to? Who will they emulate?
Yeah.
So that has been our endeavor, and of course we keep our children updated with whatever is happening outside, in terms of if it's career advisory cell, a constant update is going to children about what are the career opportunities, what are the various courses available, what are the careers available after those courses. So there is this constant flow of communication between the students and the teachers. So for us, I think anyone who doesn't learn, continue to learn, will sooner or later become obsolete and redundant.
Yes.
So I really believe that we are learning each single day. We are creating each single day. We are reinventing each single day. And of course, finally, I think we like to be thought of as a school with a heart. At least I like to think that we are a school with a heart. When I say that, we like to empathize. We love our children and we want to give them a beautiful, conducive environment where they can blossom.
Very well summed up, ma'am. Even I would say, like, not only teachers or students, every professional, every individual has to continuously learn. Otherwise, we might become an extinct person at the end of the day. Yes,
Absolutely,
absolutely true.
absolutely.
Because there's so much happening, and the future is going to hold more of the intellectual property rather than your other skills. Your intellectual skills would be really something which will make a lot of difference. So
Absolutely.
yes. So that is something we have to work on. So it was such a wonderful interaction, ma'am. And I'm so happy to know more about the school and the progressive approach and the actions which are being taken. So I can personally feel like there is a whole shift which education has gone from within last 10 years or 20 years, I would say, and that's incredible. So it was absolutely a pleasure interacting with you, ma'am.
Lovely talking to you, Megha, and thank you for this opportunity to talk to you, Megha. And thank
My
you,
pleasure, ma'am.
Pranav. Great talking with you. Bye bye.
Yes, thank you.